And what can other developers do to, I guess, more emulate master plans? I think the first thing that we as an industry have to come to grips with is that approximately 67.5% of our people can buy houses, and we went 1.5% too high. Everyone is not a home buyer. We can't keep forcing on an arbitrary basis prices down so that more people can buy a house. It just doesn't work. And if we haven't learned that lesson over the past 3 years, shame on us. So what does that mean? Do we have to eke out the absolute nth degree of density so that we can get the price down from 139 to 137? I would say just the opposite. What we look at is really wanting to build a community that I can come back to 10 years, 20 years, and 100 years from now, and that community is going to be better then than it was the day we created it. How do you do that? You put up landscape setbacks. They don't have to be grandiose, but you need them, and you need trees and bushes in them. You need a level of amenitization that is appropriate to the community. You need architectural control. You can't have a community where you build the same house side by side by side by side and expect people to have any integrity about their neighborhood. You need sustainable building materials. I actually think we're there today. Our home builders are building better houses today than the day I started in this business 37 years ago. And that's a testament to David Weekley's certainly been one of the leaders in that. And I had one more. What was it? Well, I think I forgot.
Those are great. Well, speaking of home building, David, what are you seeing change-wise in terms of product as a result of the changing demographics in our metropolitan region and mainly in the suburban market?
Yeah, I don't pay too much attention to those long-term graphs that we saw because I've got to sell a house tomorrow and next week, and we respond very quickly to what the customer wants because that's the only way we continue to sell homes. So we are very close and very much in touch with the customer demands today and tomorrow and the next day. And in terms of changes, you know, the biggest issue, and one that I wanted to speak about a little bit, is that while all of us new home builders are competitive, the reality is that 5 years ago, new homes were 1 in every 4 homes sold in the U.S. Today, they're 1 in every 9 or 10 homes sold. So our main competition is the resales. That's our primary competition. And so what can we do to differentiate ourselves from the competition? And so, you know, Tom at lunch showed one of our green brochures, and so the sustainability in creating homes that are really different, we think moves us to a different position than the resales and competes against that resale market. And as I'm talking to our sales folks, it's kind of like, you know, when gas is $4 and trying to sell a Suburban. You know, that just wasn't smart to own a Suburban. And what's happening when customers go out today and they buy a 5 or 6 year old home, even one of ours, the reality is that our energy costs now are 1/2 of what they were 5 years ago. And that's because we've really gone to school on the whole issue of how to design a home as a whole system. And we've got, you know, engineers and look at homes totally different than we did 35 years ago, 37 years ago when I was building. I mean, the homes we're building today are so much better than the ones I personally built in Larry's community 35 years ago. I mean, every home we build, we go and put a blower door test on and test the air leakage out of every single home. We go and test the ductwork on every single home to know what the leakage is. It's more than just putting in a high efficiency air conditioner. I mean, it's a whole package of things. We're using advanced framing, which uses 30% less lumber pieces than almost any other builder in the market. And so we're really working on this. So the whole question of sustainability to me is how you use natural resources. And when I became convinced this was smart was when we looked and we found out that if we spent an extra $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000 a home, that we could save enough in energy that in fact their total monthly payment, including the home price and the energy cost, was less than if we would have built a less efficient home. And we know it'll be good for them for the next 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. So when that reality was there, when the customers could make a decision to go buy a new home today and be better off financially than they would be buying a resale in terms of monthly cost, then it became really a no-brainer. We're not talking about a 5-year payback or a 10-year payback. We're talking about the day you move in, spending extra money on our home to get the green and energy efficient home saves you money that day. Now the challenge is, as a builder, is convincing buyers of that and actually being able to show them that. So we guarantee energy usage. We have a guarantee that no other builders offer, or very, very few. And so we really had to come up with systems and ways, because every builder says we're green, and you know, who's greener? And so that kind of gets to be the conversation. And that's a sales issue and those kinds of issues. In terms of, so what's different about the homes, or what changes, we are seeing buyers looking at smaller, smarter housing. I mean, the days of somebody buying the 3,500 square foot home just because they thought, if I bought up, then when prices go up, then I'll make even more money. People aren't necessarily thinking that anymore. So they're buying the home that they need, the home that they want to live in. I think we're all getting kind of simpler, smarter, and realize that sometimes more is not better. And that's a fundamental shift. And so we're seeing that. We're also finding, you know, we've got a lot more ethnic buyers and culturally diverse buyers. You know, we have training classes on cultural diversity, and we put, you know, salespeople in certain communities that strictly speak Spanish. And so we're really very sensitized to that. And in some of our markets, some of our communities are 80% Asian. And so having the right people in the right place, understanding that market, and maybe building more homes with double masters, because their family situation might not be one where the kids move out, you know, when they go to college. In fact, for a lot of us, the kids don't necessarily move out when they go to college. They might come back once or twice. But so the reality is that the home styles are changing. The other thing we're doing is we're putting a lot more flex spaces in, where someone can kind of age in place, to where if they start out and they come in and they're a young couple and maybe they need a nursery right beside the master bedroom, and after a while the kids get older and then they turn that into an exercise room, and if they want to live there 20 years and turn it into a grandchild's room, they can do that too. But so coming up with ways that the homes can be flexible to meet changing lifestyles, I think is important as well.
Excellent. We have, I think, 2 roving mics, is that right? We're planning to have, or at least one?
You got one.
Have one, okay, well, good. So we're gonna open this up for questions.
No, we're only using one, right? And this is how it works. If you want to ask a question, you step out to the row, right? And there's a reason why Jerry Springer never gives the microphone to the person asking the question. Be clear what your question is, introduce yourself, ask the question, or make a short statement, because you are the one standing between now and free drinks. So who wants to be the first person?